Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the law of attraction, manifesting success stories show comes in. If you are ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to this episode. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and I am back with Alisa for her third interview. Welcome, Alisa.
Hello, Cassie.
Hi. Tell us what's awesome.
Lots of things. Still getting to work from home. For me, that's
Yay,
awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and I don't know, just life is really, really good right now. Very busy, but really, really good in a lot of ways. So much of what's awesome in my life has to do with a major change that's happened here recently that you and I have talked about privately and in the Enchanted Circle that I haven't actually shared on the interview yet. But it's huge and it's so exciting and I'm so happy.
Yay! Tell everyone because it's so awesome.
Okay. I'm going to try and give a condensed version of the story. So part of my motivation of joining the Enchanted Circle is because of where I was at in my life this whole last year. I had broken up with a man I was deeply, deeply in love with. We had been talking about getting engaged. We very nearly did get engaged, but then, ended up breaking up for reasons. And so I had moved and I was struggling with work and I was single again in my mid-30s. And I was like, I need a change. So that's part of why I joined the Enchanted Circle. And in the process of doing the work with the Enchanted Circle and the homework assignments, I was starting to get more in touch with inspired action.
Mm-hmm.
And so on July 5th, I was at the park with my daughter and I had this moment of feeling like, you know what? I could reach out to my ex-boyfriend right now and let him know that I hope he's doing really well and mean it sincerely and not need or expect any response. And I felt like it was if I was ever going to send him a message, it was the right time. That moment was the right time. And so I did. I didn't really second guess it or overthink it. I just felt like it was the right time. And so I sent him a message. I'm not expecting or needing any response, but I got one back. And he basically said, it's really important. We need to talk as soon as possible. I was like, okay. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. I don't need anything from you. Don't worry that I'm like contacting you because I have expectations or needs. But we ended up talking. We talked for like 4 hours that night. And essentially what was going on is he had been having a really rough year too. And had recently started having these really vivid dreams about talking to me again, which was freaking him out because he's like, why in the world am I dreaming about Alisa? And then I reach out and text him and his brain just explodes. So we had a really long conversation, lots of long conversations over the following days talking about what happened and why it happened, where we're at. And then we saw each other again in person. And long story short, we're now back together. Things have picked up basically exactly where they left off, only better because we're now a little bit older, a little bit wiser. We've worked through a lot of the stuff that was an issue before. And now we're once again getting ready to get married.
Yay!
Which is wild because at the beginning of July, I was getting myself used to the idea of being single was just going to be my thing. Because I had tried dating since I broke up with my ex and nobody could compare to him. He was just, the perfect match for me, like an entire other level compared to everyone else I was meeting. And I just nobody else compared. And I was reaching the point where I was okay with just appreciating the time that we did have together and accepting that that's what it was going to be. And so it's still kind of surreal and mind-blowing that I now have my favorite person in the world back in my life. We are just as in love as we ever were, and he's just as amazing. He's a little bit more blunt than he's a very blunt person. He's a little bit more blunt than he was. I can tell that he hasn't really had a woman in his life the last year or so. So there's a little bit of, okay, sweetie, let's tone it down again. But I just love him. He's so sweet, and he's so good with my daughter. Just an incredible man, just high integrity, hardworking, selfless, compassionate, and a deeply, spiritual and mindful person too, which was so important to me. So it's amazing. It's amazing. And I just think about one of the things we talk about in the Enchanted Circle as like signs and evidence is finding coins.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this guy works off of cash. So you go into his car, his apartment, pretty much anywhere where he is, and it's literally littered with loose change. And it's like, and it's crazy because you're just like, oh, I found a penny. I found another one. Oh, look, there's a dime and a quarter, and it's everywhere. It's fun because you pick it up and you put it in a jar, and then like you're just constantly picking up.
Yes.
Change. It's so funny. And then with, he has a really good career, and with us moving towards merging our lives together, all of his resources are now going to become my resources. And so it's not like cash that I've manifested in my hand, like in previous months, but it's resources that are now coming into my life. And one of the things that he told me, which was, to me, it was super sweet, was he said, I think single motherhood has been wasted on you because you're so much more than just a single mom. And I can't wait to see who you get to become when you have the right support.
That's amazing.
And I was just like, oh my gosh. So yeah, he's great. If I want to go back to college, he'll help me with that. If I want to change careers, he'll support me in that. If I really do want to just be a stay-at-home mom, so that we can have a couple more kids before we get too old for it, then he's okay with that. It's just amazing having this person in my life who's just like, who do you want to be? And I will support you in that. And that's just, it's great.
That is amazing. And it's amazing. I mean, it goes back again, like I would love to talk more too about how I don't know if this was the first time sort of inspired action hit. I think there was a couple other times where you're like, I went this way or did this. And, but I love it because when we go back to your Manifest 10K list, it really was about becoming who you wanted to be. Right? There's something very specific on it, of course. And really we did a lot of work in the beginning. Like I pushed you really hard, but who are you after you have that? Like, this isn't the final, like, who are you when you have that business? Who are you when you are this person making an impact, this person.
Yeah.
Right? And so and
I'm still planning on taking that course, but now the timeline has just changed.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
Yeah. And it's actually having, my boyfriend, soon to be fiance and then husband in my life, is that it actually will make it easier to do the course. Mm-hmm. When the time is right, it will make it easier to do the course.
Absolutely.
Because then I won't have to worry about, paying for my home and, making sure that I've got money for food or anything like that, because he'll be taking care of us.
Yes. Which are all things on your list as well. It was all the things that sort of represented this step in that way.
Yeah. Being able to move forward while still maintaining stability for myself and my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. We never know how it's going to show up.
No, and this was completely expected. I legitimately never, ever expected to talk to or see this person again in my life. Because when we broke up, things were pretty darn final at that point. And I think one of the things that really stuck out to me in the time I spent processing our relationship afterwards was that even when breaking up, I've never broken up with somebody who still made me feel completely loved while breaking up with me.
Yeah.
There were legitimate reasons why it wasn't going to work at that time, but there was absolutely no hard feelings or animosity or blaming or anything like that going on. It was a very strange experience to be like, this person just broke up with me, and yet I still feel completely loved by them.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes to show what his character is like. He's an incredible human being. And I never once resented him for breaking up and calling things off, and why he felt he had to do that at that time. And looking back on it now, it was completely necessary.
Mm-hmm.
There are both things that we had to learn and grow through and process before we would be really ready to be able to be available and support each other. So it's just, it just goes to show that, it's nothing's ever over.
It's not. And how do I think there were two keys I want to go back to.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, you said, you'd sort of decided you were going to be single.
Yeah.
Was that in a sort of a resign to it, or I'm going to get comfortable and be okay with it kind of way?
Yes and yes.
Awesome. Surrendering.
The necessity of having to be resigned to it, because the angst was just becoming too much to live with.
Mm-hmm.
But I also didn't want to be miserable for the rest of my life.
Yes.
So both are true.
I love that, which are two keys for listeners. Like when you're using the law of attraction, it wasn't, let me go do a whole bunch of stuff to get him back. It was surrendering to where you were, mm-hmm. and then beginning to create an amazing life from that place.
Yes. Which actually makes me think of something. That's actually how I met him in the first place too.
Oh yeah. So, let's hear this.
When I first met him, I had just gone through a period of like not dating because I was super burnt and bitter about it. Mm-hmm. I was just like, I'm going to be single because this is not worth it. And, had reached a point where I was like, you know what? I completely accept being single. I'm going to focus on my career, my daughter, my religious community, and I can be okay with that. And I had this moment of feeling inspired by God, that, you know what, just get on one dating site. And I was like, which one? Just this one site. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll get on that one site. Zero expectations. I'm not even really going to try. In fact, I'm going to actively pray that whenever I start talking to somebody, they will go away. Like, give me a reason to send them away because I don't have time for this. And that's exactly what happened, except for him. He was the only person that there wasn't a door that closed for some reason where I got a funny feeling in my stomach, or they just bailed, or, whatever reason. He was the only person that I actually ended up meeting. And it ended up being my best friend. So again, I was in a place of complete surrender and acceptance of where I was at. And I followed inspired action. And I'm the one that took the action. I'm the one that reached out. I contacted him first on the dating site. And that's what happened again this time. I, accepted where I was at. I was working on myself. I followed inspired action, and I reached out and I texted him. And it's really interesting to see those kind of bookends, mm-hmm. on our relationship.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Very cool. What is the biggest way that you're showing up differently in this round of your relationship? Or
well, he's actually commented on that. He actually told me once, you're much more playful than you ever were before, and you're so much more present, and it's really sexy. And he said that before I was always thinking about the future or worrying about something, or just my head was somewhere else. And so he says that is the most significant change that he has seen in me. And I think I feel it too. I wasn't thinking about it in those terms because I was just me and doing mm-hmm. me.
Yeah.
But I can definitely see where this whole last year, and even, this time in the Enchanted Circle has really helped me to remember that being present is where the magic is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the here and now, and also learning to just trust that the future is taken care of.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, always going to be challenging, whether or not we're going through COVID or election year or, you know, something else, which we all seem to be experiencing simultaneously right now. No matter what's going on, I feel like the last 10 years of my life have taught me that the future is always taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
You can trust the future to be taken care of. And so we just have to be present in the here and now.
I love that. And I've watched you in your times on calls and coaching. Like of course, I believe that he sees that. And I know that I've seen that too. Like be able to come back and sort of be here and enjoy more of the moment. And yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's definitely a much happier way to live.
Yes. Yay. Awesome. All right. Well, I want to shift gears because I want to talk a little. We can always come back as it comes up, but I want to talk about you recently got another random check in the mail.
Yeah. I used to actually still have it. It's right here. Here's my check.
Yay.
I'll have to put it in my manifesting jar. But yeah, it's absolutely hilarious. And if this is how God or the universe wants to show up in my life, I'm totally cool with that because it's really fun. Yeah. So apparently I am the beneficiary of a settlement. And I know exactly what it is. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, I remember that. And so it's not like a scam thing.
Right.
It's a legitimate check from a settlement that apparently I'm a beneficiary of. I didn't even know. I had no idea. Yeah, so I got another unexpected check in the mail. I remember one of our assignments was to hide bills around the house. And I've tried to very intentionally wait until I forgot where I put them. And I still know where some of them are in my mind. And so I'm trying really hard to forget them. I don't know how you do that. But when my boyfriend was over here and we were playing Dungeons and Dragons and I was running around looking for my Dungeons and Dragons stuff, I ended up finding 2 of my bills after having forgot that they were there. So again, just this man coming into my life is just like pouring on blessing and abundance. And then we went to a potluck together for a baby blessing for some of his friends, who are also my friends. And I found a penny on the floor. And I know we've talked about in Enchanted Circles about I don't find coins laying around as frequently as other people do. Apparently I get unexpected checks, which I am totally cool with. But I did find a penny on the ground and that was super fun. So even though my manifested total hasn't changed as dramatically as it has in previous months, there are other things that have come into my life which feel so much bigger than just money.
Yes.
And I know that, you know, with having my boyfriend in my life, the money is going to be part of it because, you know, his resources will become my resources. So.
Yay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Any advice, final thoughts, things you want to make sure to share today?
Well, I think one of the things that you and I were talking about is how the last couple months, since I've been integrating this relationship back into my life, which is taking up time, you know, having people in your life takes up time. I haven't been doing the Enchanted Circle assignments with any sort of regularity. And I've definitely noticed as far as how I feel about things and my awareness of money coming into my life. And like I said, the actual cash coming into my life has definitely slowed down. And I do think that there's a strong correlation between the fact that I'm not doing my Enchanted Circle assignments, but the money is still coming in. Yeah. And I noticed that especially once I started thinking I need to get more intentional about this again and started applying more awareness to that, then the unexpected check came in. Then I found the $20 bills. Like Like there was this, you put your awareness on it, without needing to control or stress out about it.
Yeah.
And there's a correlation, there. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now, is I want to get more intentional again about my Enchanted Circle assignments. Now that I'm settled into this relationship and it's secure and we know where it's going. I don't have to be spending energy wondering about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know doing the Enchanted Circle assignments is going to benefit my relationship. And I've heard the other ladies talk about it. Oh, it's actually making me think of Mia talks about how her partner, and I forget her partner's name. Tracy will just like insist that she does her homework. Like, you're not allowed to leave this house. We're not doing anything until you do your homework, which I thought was so cool.
Yes.
And I know it's going to benefit so many other areas of my life. And so kind of reorganizing what that looks like. And so I may, like we were talking about before, I may not necessarily be able to do it every day right now like I was at the first, but I can set aside 1 hour out of my day to go and do things that are just for myself, so that I continue to take care of myself, do the things that activate my abundance feeling, go to the gym to take care of my health, keeping my house clean so that I don't feel like I'm losing my mind, doing my Enchanted Circle assignments, and just making sure that I set aside an hour a day for myself, to just, do that self-care, do those things that are going to help me be the most available, most loving, most abundant person for my loved ones that I can be.
Yes, I love that. So awesome. So important. And it's coming. It'll, and I love that you mentioned that, it's like, even when you just have awareness and you start thinking like, oh, I want to get back to that. It does, like, all of a sudden because energetically you become the person who's doing it. Like, even when you haven't started sort of back to the consistency yet, you're automatically in the energy of like, oh yeah, I'm doing it. I'm that person. And so I love that you shared that, because I think sometimes people get like, oh, I'm not, like, they just get caught in the I'm doing it, but just like, I'm getting back to that. I'm going to get back to that.
And taking those small steps. So I have done, it's not like I haven't done any.
Right. I've seen those.
Yeah. I've done a few. And just being, okay, like, not just awareness of thinking about it, but also the intentionality of, I'm going to do this. What I know exactly what assignment I'm on right now, that I need to take the time to follow through on. It's not like I have no clue. I know exactly where I'm at and what I need to do. And so it's just a matter of setting aside that time, and then I know what to do. Which I think is different from thinking, oh, I should do this, or I should do that, or I want to, but there's no real plan behind it, which again is Enchanted Circle is amazing because Cassie gives you a plan. You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
It's seriously, it's a huge lifeline, especially when you've got a ton going on in your life. You don't want to try and figure it out on your own. It's nice going, okay, I can go in and I can log into my Kajabi app and I know exactly what I have to do next.
Yes. Agreed. That is so key. I love that you said that, because that just, okay, I know what to do, is there's so much time and energy and mind power that gets taken out, Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Cool. I am so excited for you. Thank you for sharing your amazing story. I'm so excited we get to tag along for how your love story keeps moving forward.
Yeah.
As well as your money journey now. That's so fun. Thank you for taking this moment out of your journey and joining us today. I'm excited to come back and see what else is awesome next time.
Yeah. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be an interesting, I don't know. My life is going in directions I never, ever expected. It's all going to be interesting.
It is. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
I love it. And thank you all for listening. Make sure to come back and check out Alisa's next interview.
Thank you for joining us on the Law of Attraction, Manifesting Success Stories show. To learn how to identify your current money story, go to identifyyourmoneystory.com.